Welcome back to the latest episode of the CGA Tour podcast. As always, here I'm your host, Calvin Glen Alexander, joined tonight by my co-host, Trey Florence, as we talk about Oklahoma State's back-to-back wrestling championships. Quarterback rankings have come out here lately in the Big 12, across the nation as well. So preseason quarterback rankings, senior day for Oklahoma State men's basketball, Hoyt and the foul that was costly at the end of the women's basketball Big 12 tournament play. Is baseball heating up? We all want to know, and I think I have the answer. Softball rallies as of late here get a 2-1 walk-off, walk-in win, and so you're telling me there might be a chance. Plus, a little bit of trivia. Trey's got the question.
The CGA Tour, a podcast unlike any other. Now your host, Calvin Alexander.
Hey, Cowboy fans. Today's episode is brought to you by Oakley Burklow, your go-to independent insurance agent and proud OSU alum. Oakley helps with home, auto, life, and business insurance, working with multiple top-rated insurance companies to find you the right coverage at the right price. Licensed in Oklahoma and Arkansas. Call 918-280-9068 or email oakley.burklow@connectmyinsurance.com. Personal service, honest advice, and a fellow poke helping you protect what matters most. Well, Trey, we're recording this here on Sunday, so when I'm saying this, last night with a massive lead heading to the Dutch Championship session, Oklahoma State clinched the 2026 Big 12 Wrestling Championship, and the Cowboys finished the night with 4 titles in their championship matches.
Yes.
How do you feel?
I feel pretty good, but I also you kind of already knew that was going to happen because of how well we've been doing this season, especially whenever we had that dominant match against Iowa. So it was good to see that our practice paid off, I guess you could say. So it was really good to see the title make a comeback. Just continue our legacy again. We'll see how we do in the NCAA championship, but I have a feeling we're going to do pretty well once again. So will we win the team one? Who knows? But as of right now, I feel very confident with our group of guys right now that are wrestling.
Yeah, the Jax Forward story will not cease to just be incredible to me. I mean, the Cowboys star 133-pounder gave Oklahoma State a sweep of titles, becoming the first freshman to be named most outstanding wrestler since 2021. And Oklahoma State's final team score of 176 points, ranked second most in Big 12 championship history, trailing only OSU from 2017 by half of a point.
It's looking great, and how did that 2017 team do? I think they won, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I was looking up here. You're not saying win the whole thing, right? I mean, I don't think they won.
I think they won.
That was Penn State.
Oh, well,
when we're going back here, Penn State has won every year going back until 2021 when Iowa won, and then 2020 was canceled due to COVID, and then Penn State wins every single one going back to 2015 when that was Ohio State. Then Penn State goes on another run here of 2014 to 2011. I know I'm getting the order backwards here, so apologies. And then Iowa won it from 08 to 2010. So and then there's some Oklahoma State titles there from 03 to 06. So there's we have titles this season.
Individual titles probably.
No, I mean that's championships I'm reading. I'm just reading team championships.
Gotcha.
And so we have some at that point here with the runners up being Minnesota, Michigan, Iowa, and Minnesota. They had previously wrestled. Hey, Caleb Sanderson has put together one heck of an absolute dynasty and powerhouse here for Penn State. I'm not taking anything from that, but comparatively how I felt in the last couple of years in wrestling versus this year, and really kind of a little bit last year, but definitely this year, wrestling will be the wildest sport to me for one major reason. You could have a guy come in who should be in high school, who is physically just not the same kind of athlete because he's not the same age as other guys. I mean, and it won't matter as much. Mm-hmm. Because one, wrestling, you have to have a certain weight. So, you're not having 250-pound running back going up against, a 250-pound defensive end and going, who's in that battle, right? You just don't have to have these conversations. Guys are at 133, I understand. But really, a lot of it is you can have a guy just come in, just know what he's doing, know how to do it so incredibly well. He can be dominant for 4 years, and that can be kind of it. I mean, Wyatt Hendrickson had the upset over Gable Stevenson ever because it was, this guy's just so dominant for years, for forever. So it will be one of the more interesting sports I've ever followed and watched because you can have a guy come in who just takes over from day one, and there's really no. I mean, Jax Forrest had a tech fall, I think, in every single match up until the finals, where he won almost by a tech fall again, 14-2. The only points he allowed in the entire Big 12 Wrestling Championship were from escapes.
Yeah.
So, Frostan, I mean, just absolute shout. Like he's incredible. It's so much fun to watch him as a wrestler too because the action's just nonstop. He's not going for writing time a lot. He's just really trying to be super active. Heck, if I could do any sport the way that Jax Force dominates it in, I would be, just on the top of the world. Because, that guy clearly knows what he's doing. He's clearly incredible. And then, of course, he's got a great coach and a great program.
So, yeah. I do feel like you're also like right on it too. It's like overall team wise, it's going to be pretty hard to beat Penn State, but like individual stories here and there are going to be, great to see, especially the 4 guys that won the championship. It's going to be interesting to see how they do in the national championship. But once again, wrestling can be like one of those sports, like any day could be your day type of thing. Because it's so well, there's no disadvantage unless you got hurt type of thing. So it's just literally you and another guy and a mat, and that's pretty much it. So it's a very entertaining sport, that's for sure.
Very much so. Well, in other news as well too, I know we saw the Big 12 quarterback rankings come out here earlier on this week from CBS Sports, some other websites. Let me say this. I think it's bizarre that we're having all this high, fun talk about Drew Mestemaker, and then all of a sudden, okay, he's 3, from CBS Sports. And then what is he here? He's also, he was 7th in the nation from ESPN in their rankings.
Yeah. So, I'm like, what?
I'm not trying to put together the stats necessarily, right? Like, I'm not going into that. But how do you have the rankings? The rankings here, I get it. They are for future projections of how the team will do this year comparatively to the rest. Just 3rd? CBS, what am I missing here? I thought this guy was the next coming to Jesus Christ superstar.
I think they're knocking him down probably because he's going from one division to another division. So obviously the Big 12's a lot bigger. And so they're probably knocking him down just a little bit because they don't think he will transfer over very well. Rightfully so, because I could see why they said that because, we sucked last year. Gonna be honest, we won 1 game. So I could see where they're gonna have their little bit of a doubt. But the Arizona one was very surprising. Like Texas Tech makes sense, but the Arizona one being number 1, I'm like,
Noah Fafita is not that good of a quarterback.
No.
I've never thought, wow, you know what, Brett Brennan and Noah Fafita are a match made in heaven, and that's why Arizona's winning games. I've really thought, you know what, I think as a team, Brett Brennan's a pretty good coach, and as a team, they're able to put together some stuff. But Brennan Sorsby, I'm totally fine with. That guy was a coveted guy to the portal from all stats information. He just didn't have the whole team with him at Cincinnati. But are you telling me if this is what's weird, I think, between the two, ESPN versus CBS. CBS is ranking this on the quarterback themselves. How is the quarterback doing by themselves for this next season?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas ESPN is going team success as far as their quarterback roster goes. I listen, I'm not going to be mad about Sorsby, a guy who started multiple games for multiple years, being ranked higher than Drew Mestemaker. But Noah Fafita was not the guy at Arizona. I know they won, I think, 9 or 10 games last year, but we were not talking about Noah Fafita.
We weren't excited for Arizona last year. Like, it did. I don't know. Just probably because of the fact he came back. That's the only reason why I could see the hype around him. But even then, like, he didn't wow me. He didn't like it. I don't know. It's very confusing where they're coming with these rankings. Like at one point, like whenever we had the whole draft or not draft, but like the whole portal situation, they're putting him Drew putting him like 2 or 3 in the nation, and now he's 3rd in the conference. What? Like it just didn't really. I know that they're technically different rankings, but it just didn't really. It doesn't really add up.
Yeah, I mean, ESPN is putting together this pre-spring quarterback rankings for all 68 Power 4 college football teams by Bill Connolly, who I think is a good writer. I think he knows what he's doing here. And now that January's transfer window is long since closed, the college football rosters are stable as they'll ever be. It's when spring gets started.
Right.
They're saying, hey, Drew Mestemaker, best quarterback projected in the Big 12, period. Like that's what they got. I mean, they got CJ Carr up here, Notre Dame. They've got Julian Sam, the Ohio State quarterback. 3 is Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss guy coming back. 4, Arch Manning. 5, Jaden Mayava. 6, Dante Moore. And who's there right behind them at 6? And probably, if I had to say, the best quarterback NFL draft prospect for 2027, not this year, but next, Drew Mestemaker. Yep, right after him. Drew's stats speak for themselves. He's incredible, but I think it's interesting. I just think it's interesting how these guys are being ranked and talked about, because at the end of the day, one site has the Big 12 quarterback at number 7 in Drew Mestemaker and ESPN here. Sorsby's at number 9, and we don't see another Big 12 quarterback that's Noah Fafita here until much farther down the list. I mean, you got Devin Dampierre, Utah at number 12. We go Bear Bachmeier, BYU 15. We can keep going here before we get to Noah Fafita, Avery Johnson at 21. So, yeah, I'm curious at the end of the day. I mean, yeah, Noah Fafita's down here at 27. So, these rankings to me are more, hey, you know what? He got around you, may matter a lot more as well too in one poll versus the other. But I think this is something to talk about, because you have such a discrepancy between both sides, both writers, both kind of organizations, media companies.
They could also
one of them has our guy as the best quarterback in the Big 12. That's a pretty cool thing to see.
Oh yeah, for sure. But also it could be just like, you got to mix it up a little bit here and there. They don't want to copy somebody else's list, so then they're going to change it and be different. I know it's ultimately, we're in the preseason and we still got a long way to go, but I can't wait to actually watch the first game because that's going to prove a lot of everything that's been talked about this season and the portal and everything. So there's a lot of what ifs, and it's great to see these like different opinions agree with us. And some people, you're like, I don't know if I agree with you, but it's still, once again, overall positive. Like, this is a great step for us. Like, who would have thought that you're going to be talking about OSU's top quarterback last year before anything happened? So I'm just glad that we're at least in that conversation, but at the same time, I like to question it a little bit. But I'm just happy. Any publicity is good publicity at this point, right?
Fair enough. I think Mestemaker making the jump is why CBS has him 3rd, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
And ESPN has Mestemaker at 7th in the nation because of how good the supporting cast is around him and how good the projection could be.
Right.
So it is what it is. But Noah Fafita had such a bad 2024 that won't leave my mind after Jedfish left, after going, they went 4-8, I think, the year after Jedfish left. And they won 9 games last year, and Fafita had a kind of mistake-free, but no one was talking about Fafita.
Nope.
And now all of a sudden we're now talking about, and it was just Sorsby, Mestemaker. Who else you got? We're talking Barrett Brockmeyer. We're talking Connor Weigman, DJ Lagway at Baylor. I mean, what are we talking about, right? Avery Johnson at K-State barely beat a 1-win Oklahoma State team in Stillwater last year. And I understand there's a lot of K-State fans who would go, yeah, it's a hard place to play, etc. Sure, but it's a 1-win team.
That was
Johnson. I understand that K-State team was also in the same position, but like,
they didn't have did they have a missing coach? I don't think so.
No, they had their coach all the way until the end of the season.
it is what it is. It's just I'm excited. I'm still excited that we at least have this great opportunity. Will this ever happen again? Who knows? But as of right now, I feel really great about this opportunity with Drew, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen. It's going to be nice to actually see some offense for once. That's the biggest takeaway for me, is we actually have offense, which is going to be like a nice change for once instead of going 3 and out.
It is super nice as well not to go, who do you think is going to start a quarterback? There's a Gast, and there's all this type of stuff. Or Alan Bowman and his immobility, which got us to the Big 12 championship and 10 wins in one year, and then the other year we fell apart completely. So it is a lot of fun to go, hey, we know who the quarterback is. We know who the guys on the roster is.
We don't have to play multiple games to figure out who the quarterback is.
We're not going to have a rotating cast to 3 guys and then go to the Big 12 championship in the same year. Let's just get to fall, right? Let's just fast forward. Although losing the hour of sleep last night makes me go, you know what? Maybe pause a little bit. Use some sleep during the summer if we can get that. But all that being said, here, college basketball. Also, I don't think there's a great chance that Oklahoma State makes the Big 12 tournament, but I do want to talk about Senior Day yesterday against Houston, the last couple minutes down the stretch, and really just the great takeaways that we had, I think, from this team this year. But to start out with, we had Reagan Harris on last week. Okay, State more. We didn't really get into it a lot about the injuries for Parsifal, et cetera. So I want to ask you now, what do you think about with Parsa injury and kind of his legacy as a Cowboy? And I'm going to ask you about a couple other seniors as well, too.
Right. So at least for Parsa, I feel like he grew and he made the team better. Obviously, it just sucks that it kind of stopped going around him towards the end before he got hurt. It just depended on the game too, to be honest with you. So it just was like, he was a good, overall, he owned the paint. So that was nice. We actually had some, ownage down there. But then obviously once he got hurt, then it kind of turned into the Anthony Roy show. So I'm okay with that. But at the same time, like it was, I could tell we started playing very individual based once he went down, instead of being this team based. So that's what I kind of see is like, at least I know we haven't been very much throughout the whole entire season playing as a team. But I feel like once he went down, it just kind of turned into all that night. And usually that was Anthony shooting the most out of everybody, but it just kind of was still kind of sad at the same time to see him go down. He was a great Cowboy. He did a lot for us. He made us hype at the beginning of the season, to be honest with you, because we were winning all these games. Granted, we weren't playing like the most toughest opponents ever, but it gave us hope for once, and it was really nice to see it at least at the beginning. It does suck that he had to get injured, and I know he's been battling that like this whole entire season, because we saw it at the OU game where he was on the bench fighting it the whole entire time, trying to get loose and try to get him back in. So I feel bad for him, but also like I know he's trying to do other things probably outside, so maybe go to the draft, maybe not, go play international, whatever his hope is and dream is. But he was good. Overall, I really appreciated Fala, is the moral of the story. It was nice to see him. And I'm just going to be sad that he had to end his OSU career kind of like that.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I also want to say earlier on this season, it was like the Parsifal show to me. I mean, it was incredible. It was, hey, Fala is this like, wow, he's this gem, this diamond in the rough, this kind of guy who's just incredible. And then by the end of the season, it was, okay, other teams have realized that Parsifal is how our offense flows. We are an inside-out offense. We are dumping the ball down to him. We can get to a tough situation. It's Anthony Roy, Parsifal. That is it. It is, Anthony Roy's not hitting shots. Parsifal's got to get shots. And if he's not getting shots, we're doomed. I mean, the OU game was the first example we had of that, the first loss, I think, of the season we had. And kind of stemmed from there. That gave everyone a good idea of like, oh, well, Fall's injured. He's a little banged up. What can we do to make him stop doing that? And I'm really excited for this next year for Steve Lutz, because I think that'll be a great year and the first real year of getting his recruits in with the full recruiting cycle and yada yada, all that fun stuff. But I remember Fala is one heck of a Cowboy, one heck of a guy who resembles the Cowboy code, as we're calling it now.
Yep.
And I'll also say this, like, Fall bought a home in Stillwater. He's a transfer. He's from Iran. He's like, there's millions of things out there that can make this guy resent his time at Oklahoma State, and he doesn't. So I give him a ton of props for that. But also I want to say, we got to figure out like the center position, the down low position. Ben Ahmed yesterday looked pretty good. Can Mekhi Ragland like get some minutes next year? And Vukovic, like I know he's got both knees dinged up. You know, Millie, he's got both knees dinged up. So I understand. There's a lot to be desired when coming down the stretch of that Houston game.
Yeah.
I remember Fall for being like a heck of a Cowboy and the offense flowing through him a little too much. And on the other side of it, I remember Anthony Roy for making a ton of shots. I hope he succeeds. Yeah, I mean, he's the other senior on the team that I want to mention here just right now. And I'll mention all the seniors here at some point. But there's a lot in me that goes, man, if we could have just done a little bit better in a couple of spots.
Mm-hmm.
Like if Robert Jennings, who's senior Oklahoma State Cowboy, if he hadn't gotten injured before the season basically started and he had been just around, I know he's 6'7", he's not huge, but like he had potential. He was a dependable guy. Yeah. I mean, he was 50% from three on the year. He only took 2 of them, but he made 1. So I can be as funny as I can be about this, but like I do want to say I really wish Robert Jennings maybe gets medical red shirt and come back next year. I'm not exactly sure how that's all playing out right now. Would love to see it. But like there are so many guys on this team that I'm going, man, you could only just be with this one more year. Follows that guy.
Yep.
Of course, Anthony Roy is that guy too. But also got to give a huge shout out to Christian Coleman, who I think game after game just continue to get better. I think he will get better over time. His next spots, wherever he ends up being.
Yeah.
And to me, this be an interesting season just because we had all these transfers in. We didn't know what to expect. We only had, I think, one guy on the team last year, which is Vukovic.
Yep.
That saw any minutes. And we had guys in out of the lineup. We had guys pinged up. I don't know what the injury issue is with their injury bug and how it hits us every so often. But like, can we get the 6'6" Ryan Crotty playing small forward a lot more next year? Who can take the Anthony Roy spot? Can we get Kanye Clary and Jalen Curry, both juniors? Can we get them back next year? Can we get Victorious Miller, who's a sophomore? Can we get him back next year? I am Ryan Crotty again. Can we get him back? Isaiah Coleman, can we get him back? I know he was sought after. Like there are all these guys. I'm going, man. You know what Ryan Crotty did not need to do? Play 8% of his. Over the last 5 games, 8% of the time he played power forward because of need. I mean, Fall went down.
I mean, yeah, we didn't have size. But my other thing too is with the Christian Coleman. Whenever Fall first went down, he took over, and he kind of took over that role, and he got us a lot of points. This time around, he didn't really take over as dominant as I wanted him to. So I don't know if he was just doing more of like a, like not passive player, but like. Because everybody saw what Anthony Roy was doing, so I don't know if he was just trying to be a facilitator in that type of way. But I mean, against Houston, he didn't show up very much because, like, he was only 2 of 11. That's just not going to cut it against Houston. So I don't know. I had really good high hopes of him at the beginning of the season whenever Follow first went out. And then now I'm like, I wish he would. I hope he gets better, but man, I was just hoping like we would have that same Chris Coleman from like earlier this season where he was just taking over and being dominant.
Yeah, and then last thing I want to say here is the tech that was called on Ahmed to end the game. Not to end the game with 6 minutes left, and I think we were down 1 at that point.
Yeah,
that's just some BS, man. I gotta be honest. I'm not usually the guy to be going, hey, you know what? The guys need to be able to talk their talk all the time. And generally speaking, I'm like, hey, what are we doing? What are we doing? The guy's mouthing off. But he wasn't mouthing off to the opposing bench. He wasn't he talks some crap to the opposing players after he scores. Like, he's a freshman. Yeah, he got no time and place. Yeah, I really wish that didn't happen. The momentum didn't happen. The momentum swing a little bit there.
That was a big momentum swing, and we just never recovered from there because we were literally making Houston panic.
Houston had we were in the bonus shooting free throws with 15 minutes left in the first half and in the second half before they called a foul. I mean, I think the exact thing is they had five fouls each half before we had a foul called. And if you're Kevin Sampson, who spoke really highly of foul after the game too, and I want to note that he's got me livid. Like this is an Oklahoma State team that allows so many threes and just all this stuff happens. We had 7 threes in the first half. Yeah, pretty incredible. And to be Houston, you got to be able to play just incredible offense. You got to be able to make tough shots. As Dave Hunziker said earlier this week, if you want to beat the big, these teams in the Big 12 that are really good, you got to be able to make the tough shots in the clutch.
Yep.
That's going to stick with me for a while. I mean, and honestly, also the way, just to kind of jump to it here as well, too, I don't know if you're good with basketball or men's basketball, is the J.C. Hoyt at the end of the game. That was tough to see. That foul called. I think JC's right. I don't think you leave that up to the officials, to call the foul. I don't think you let the officials call the foul. I don't think the officials should call the foul in the final couple seconds here. Because it's a Big 12 tournament. It's just such a big stage. You just let them play out a little bit. Like, don't call the foul there. Just tough overall.
I do feel bad for the girls because they were down. They get that 3 to tie it, right? And then that just such a gut punch, obviously I know what every coach can say and what everybody will probably say is we probably should have been in a better position where we should have been winning beforehand. But, I always try to not blame the refs whenever it's possible, but man, it's really tough whatever that last second and you're just like, no, don't do that.
What's wild to me is, and I hadn't looked at it till right now, is that we shot 12 free throws to their 5. We made 8. We were 66% from the line. They were 40% from the line shooting free throws.
Making the free throws that matter.
Yeah, they made the two that they made those two. So tough break for women's basketball as a whole. I'm excited to see how they do in the Big 12 tournament here, and that's one half an upset. A 12 beating a 4. On a Friday morning, K-State, it's always going to pain me a little bit that basketball is played in Kansas City. But, I get it from one standpoint. There's no basketball for pro teams in Kansas City. So every year, let's play Big 12 basketball in Kansas City and get all the Kansas and Kansas State and Iowa and Oklahoma State. And you've got a centrally located area. But it'll always get to me that the Big 12 championships for basketball are held in a state that does not have any Big 12 teams, period. It's held in Missouri. It'll just always be odd to me. I don't think anyone's going to, but you're getting a little closer to Cincinnati, a little closer to West Virginia. Because
it's just for that Hall of Fame's that's all.
Cool. Wow. Can't believe you got where the Hall of Fame's at.
Hey, it's a cool
Hall
place.
of Fame, Trey.
It is great.
Hall of Fame.
Isn't it the College Hall of Fame there?
College Basketball Hall of Fame?
I think so. Let me just double check.
Man, I got to make a trip then. All right.
Oh, you just activated my Alexa somehow.
All right. Well, I'll keep trying again here later on the podcast, see how often I can do it. I'm okay.
Yeah. It is in Kansas City.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, I mean, the Naismith, the College Basketball Hall of Fame, I don't think is there, is it?
Hold up. The National Collegiate Basketball.
All of our stuff so well together here as we record this. I mean, it's a very weird deal to me, I would say.
No, the Naismith Memorial is in Springfield,
Illinois.
Yep.
So, not Missouri. So, I would just say it's going to be weird. Big 12 plays. How many Big 12 tournaments do we have right now going on across all sports that are in a state that does not have a team in it?
True.
Baseball's in Arizona.
Hey, we used to have Missouri whenever they started the tournament. Now that I think about this.
Well, yeah, I'm not disagreeing there. Baseball's there. Tulsa's got, wrestling, of course. Yep. Softball's in Oklahoma City. So, you know what? Pretty good deal overall. Pretty centrally located, but still pretty annoying. All right. Well, now I got to ask you about some baseball as we talk about it, though. Clearly, that's where I'm angling here for the next stop here on this travel in the world tour of Oklahoma State sports and athletics. What have you been thinking about baseball lately? Reagan Harris, who came on last week, who I like a lot, love him out on the podcast. Hopefully, I'm on again soon here. it was pretty harsh about the baseball program, and it was a stronger take than I thought anyone would have, to be honest.
Where he starts, I can see it, because to begin the season, we did have a very slow start. Granted, we were playing the number 7 team in the nation of Arkansas as our very first game, and then OU, we don't talk about that game. But there's some games in here I feel like we're losing that we shouldn't have, and then we win, and then it's just very confusing how, especially like the last series that we had against Gardner Webb, where we get blown out in the 7 innings, but then we blow them out in 7 innings 2 days later. So it's just like, there's not a lot of consistency, but like, yes, we're winning more, per se. Yes, we're like 11-4, I think it is. So that's great. But also at the same time, it's just confusing on our losses. It looks like we're just not very good at the first game in the series, but that's hard to tell.
I'd say it's hard to tell, but also we knew coming into this season, you and I, that it'd have to be the Aiden Miola show.
Mm-hmm.
We just knew it.
Yep.
And so far, it's today included, when the guy hits a 3-run homer, it's been the Aiden Miola show. So I am all good on it being the Big 12 baseball season from how can we do it? I mean,
yep.
There's 2 ways to skin a cat. I can look at this, and I've done this so many times, and I talk on my butt all the time. I got called out on Spotify comments for it. So if you're listening to podcasts there, I don't give us 5 stars. I'm not really pining for it, but I'm just saying I've gotten called out for it, of like saying you can look at the paper one way, you can look at the other way, and what do you think? I'm not going to give you an opinion. I'm going to give you an opinion about baseball for sure. Mm-hmm. And that's that we're a pretty darn good team. I don't think we're a bad team. I didn't pick us to win I didn't pick us to win the conference. Neither of us did.
Nope. We were about middle of the pack.
Yeah. I mean, we're not the best baseball team in the conference this year. We do not have the recruits in. We have guys coming back. We're pretty good. But like Gardner Webb is 41st in D1 baseball. OU is 50th, or 53rd, maybe 49. I forget exactly where I saw it. But South Dakota State is 43. We play them later on this season. There are so many opportunities for us to be a really good baseball team. Mm-hmm. Like UCF is good at baseball. They are 45th as of right now in the record and the rankings through March 5th. So I know I'm not including every single thing here, but like baseball is a really tough sport to just figure out overall, I'd say.
Yeah.
And so if you're going, hey, you know what? I don't know how those guys are doing over there in the in the Big 12, the ACC, or whatever. Like Cincinnati's 10-4. I don't think of Cincinnati as a baseball powerhouse. We're 9-3 through March 5th, excuse me. So we're now 11-4. Pretty darn good come up here against Gardner Webb, and we're ranked 17th in the country with D1 baseball. It's about, I would say, where I thought we'd be. I honestly, maybe even a little better. But TCU right now is 7-5, and I think we both picked them to win the Big 12, not get really close to it. So
right.
It's still super early in baseball for us to have a really strong baseball take, and that's what I'm getting at here. These are all by RPI. I'm just excited to see at the end of the day, whenever it comes down to it, like, how are we when we get in the middle of Big 12 play after kind of the April 18th spring day? Please sign up for rememberthe10run.com, rememberthe10run.com, in the April 18th day. I'm not going to forget. But it'll always be interesting to me that like the baseball hot takes are out right here, right now, when we just started March and this season goes through May.
Yep. I mean, at least right now, it looks like we're good with the batting because at least we're scoring a lot. I want to see our pitching get a little bit better, but to each their own. You can't be perfect every single time, and you got those rotations. So you're right. It's at the beginning of the season. We're still trying to figure out the rotations. We're still trying to figure out who's going to be, able to pitch which game and whatnot. So it's very early on. It's going to be interesting, like what you said. I still feel like we're going to be middle, if not top of the Big 12. So I'm not too worried about us right now. But whenever we if we're like at the Kansas State, once we get to like Kansas State, whenever we're playing them and we're like doing really bad, that's whenever I'll have some more red flags. I don't want to get rid of the whole coaching staff like somebody wanted to do last week, but I think we're doing all right for right now, and we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, first year without Rob Walton, it's got to be said. First year without our longtime pitching coach, who's been with Holiday for forever. Got to be mentioned here. It's just, I know you and I, year of year, have always had these talks about this, either on the podcast or off, of like, oh, let's give it one more year, let's give it one more moment. Baseball is one of those where I'm trying to figure out, are we have the top facilities in the country. But do we also have the money power to get all the NIL guys in every school year? I don't necessarily think that's true, to be honest. I think we have maybe the NIL stuff to get in really, really good talent in football.
Right.
That resources are going. But I think for everyone who wants to harp down on the Norman schools down south, oh, they only care about 2 sports. I think we care about 4 to 5 sports.
We care about a lot.
I don't think we're just a football and gymnastics school, but I think we're kind of a football and softball and wrestling, and like we'll make a tier list of like how many Oklahoma State fans, what's your tiers of caring about every single program, right? It just is like tennis is up there, soccer's up there. I mean, comparatively to other schools who are in the Big 12, who have these kind of funds and these kind of programs and these kind of stadiums, like. We have one of the best soccer stadiums in the nation.
Yep. It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. Tennis, you shouted out last week. Softball, we're increasing the facilities year over year, it seems. They're getting better. Love the outdoor, love the bleachers on stuff in the outfield. Like, we have a really hard time hating anyone on the baseball program as it is right now.
Yeah. That's how, like, I feel like the other, like, blessing / curse that's happened to, we had a crappy football team, so what do we celebrate now? And then we have all these other sports that are just so good, besides basketball, men's basketball, that is, but we have really good other sports. Like, we're very competitive in soccer, we're very good in cross country. I know not a lot of people will go watch that, but maybe you go to a meet or so. We're really good at wrestling. Yeah, everybody showed up to that Iowa game. Like, it was, I remember I saw, I don't know from who, but people were lined up around the building and then almost to Eskimo Joe's. Like, that's how crazy it was. And they were tailgating for a wrestling match. So it's really exciting to be an OSU fan, because say it's not your season, then guess what? You got other sports that we can love. And it's a blessing and a curse, because now you got to spend all these different funds and trying to figure out, all right, which would be a fun podcast to do, is just trying to figure out the tiers of everything. But
I'm announcing it now. Next week, we will have podcasts ranking the tiers of Oklahoma State fans caring about.
I'm going to be a little bit biased, just so you know. And which sport I'm going to be biased on.
and I'll be super biased as well. And we'll see the guests we can get on here. But I also want to talk about softball as well, too, here. Cowgirls dropped their final game in the rubber match against UCF this weekend. We got a 2-run homer from Rosie Davis scoring, in the 3rd inning, but UCF evened it up in the 4th, and you can read all about it or watch all about it, all stuff you may already know. So I'm not going to keep going here, but like softball as a whole right now, I think we're okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're 17-7 on the season as we record this year. We seem to be doing all right, but I would love to see a bunch more people out of the softball games.
Oh, yeah.
That is, between softball and baseball, I think we have 2 of the top,
programs.
Collectively in the Big 12. I'm not saying that, hey, all together we have, an incredible deal or whatever. I'm just saying, if you look at it and you go combined between both sports, who's got the better, I think it's about even. But I think if you're combining both baseball and softball and Big 12 rankings, I think Golden State's probably pretty far up there. We're not talking about KU softball. We're not talking about UCF baseball all of a sudden, but I guess I was a minute ago. So UCF softball is pretty good, but I'm not harping on all that often. I do wish we were on TV a lot more often.
For sure.
The Wednesday one against Wichita State that's coming up here on the 11th, just radio.
Yep.
So I wish softball's on TV a little more. I don't really understand that all that often, to be honest. But it's horrible grammar. I'm very sorry. I don't understand all of that all the time, to be honest, but still.
It's currently because of we're in this weird season of where it's NBA and hockey. The ESPN picked up hockey, and so that's where some of those games are getting replaced because they used to be on TV. Some I do know that, but
You're going to be killing me here if you're telling me that the ESPN broadcast on hockey is taken away from ESPN Plus broadcast for Oklahoma State softball. I'm sorry. That's going to be my death nail of conversation with you. That's tough to believe.
I like my hockey.
I'm not saying you don't like the hockey. I'm just saying like we can't get a Wednesday night ESPN Plus can't be happening.
Yeah, I don't make those contracts. I bet you they have. Right now, they probably won't care as much. It's whenever they get a little bit closer to the World Series. That's whenever they start, I feel like, programming more softball games. But I'm not the broadcast master.
Like the Grand Canyon Tuesday, it's in Phoenix, I understand. It's at Grand Canyon, but like that one's not on ESPN Plus. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. How much am I going to be mad? Yeah, I mean, Tulsa on a Wednesday, like at Tulsa. I think there's just some softball programs who honestly don't have it all set up, like Tulsa and Wichita State and etc. Like, I guess it is what it is. Heck, maybe I'll go to Wichita State on April 8th and see anyone there. Really tailgate it out for Oklahoma State softball. We'll see, but honestly, it's a tough deal on a weekday. But nonetheless. So you're telling me, so this is what I want to get to here in kind of the last couple minutes here of the podcast, but I want to ask you here, which do you think of these three things is the most believable? All right. So I'm going to lay out the three. OSU makes the college football playoff. OSU wins the wrestling championship, or we win the College World Series.
This year.
This year,
okay.
College football playoff in football. Wrestling wins it all. NCAA men's championship. Or baseball wins the World Series. Which is the most believable for 2026?
Right now, for 2026, I'm going to go with wrestling because they got the Big 12 title. And that's my thing. But that's the hard part is because you gotta win it. Making it to the playoff, that is possible.
Trey, yeah, the hard part's winning it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, going against probably Penn State most likely. So
yeah,
man, out of the three scenarios, I'm gonna go with the wrestling one just because we at least have a title. We have a title that proves like, hey, we got a Big 12 title. We're going into the national championship group. Football, I feel like could. But there's still a lot to be played, and baseball, that we would have to get extremely lucky to make it to Omaha.
But like baseball winning the World Series is a bridge too far. Yeah. Taking it to Omaha would be I think of all these three, if you can amend it, I think making it to Omaha would be there. I think wrestling, making it to the championship match against Penn State would be there as well. Yeah. In the finals. But also, that's not really how wrestling works. It's kind of points and it's wrestler and all that stuff. So that's harder. Football making it to playoffs, though, that's the one that I go, yeah, why not? Honestly, it's going to be.
Yeah.
It seems possible. It seems way more possible than winning outright the other two, and that's why I wanted to put it on so much more of an even if you're telling me football's got to win the whole thing, okay, I get out of here, GTFO, see you later, I'm signing off, that's it. But if you're telling me football has to just get to college football playoffs, basically win the Big 12 or come in second, maybe, but I think there's a good chance that we go 11-2 in the conference and then win the conference. And who else are we competing with in football this year?
Right.
That's kind of my bigger thing here. At the end of the day, the other powerhouse football teams are competing with, I think K-State and Avery Johnson will be right back this year. We'll have Chris Kleiman at head coach, etc. Be right back. But are they going to win the whole thing? Is Drew Mestemaker going to be able to make that leap from Group of 6 play, from UNT, from some sloppy play here and there? I mean, from some games where he knew he had to score more than 30 and they didn't get it done.
Right.
Against Tulane specifically. And also wrestling, just to kind of finish out here, wrestling, Penn State, to start out the podcast, how many times do I say Kale Sanderson has won in this century championships? It just is incredible, that dynasty. And then baseball winning the World Series, even if I'm saying getting to Omaha, I think that's tougher than football getting to the playoffs. I understand a lot more teams getting to Omaha. You can see yourself there. You can go on a run. Pitching can just really ramp up at the end with the pitching coach. Pitching could continue to get better this whole season just because you've got all these new things implemented. But then again, I'm picking football.
I mean, I get why. And we also like our quote unquote tough opponents that I'm going to say for the year. We are playing them at home, which was Texas Tech and Oregon. So that's also like, beneficial for us in the long run. But yeah, I still feel like wrestling is probably I guess this is going to be hard to say, most likely to achieve one of those three goals. I feel like wrestling is going to be the closest. Football, I feel like we could probably be pretty close. Maybe if they expand the playoff, maybe they might. Just kidding. We all love the playoff situation right now. But
wait. Are you all of a sudden taking this into expand the playoffs?
Yeah, let's expand the playoffs to 24 teams. Then we can get in there. I'm kidding. But
killing me, Smalls.
I know, but I mean, yeah, I could see us. It was definitely, but for me, was between wrestling and football. I'm just leaning more towards wrestling because I can see it right now, and that we're doing pretty well right now. So that's why I'm leaning towards that.
Yeah, I'm taking football just because Penn State's got the dynasty. I think David Taylor can be there next year. I mean, honestly, I think next year could be the David Taylor year. I think year over year, we're never going to be able to count on David Taylor. Jax Forrest is the top guy here on the end for the whole podcast because shout out to him at 133 pounds. He tech falls every single person in the Big 12 Championship all the way until the finals. He's 12-0. He could be in high school right now thing is incredible to me because I've got two younger brothers who are currently college students. And I'm like, this guy is younger than both of them. And I'm not that old. I'm 32. So I don't want to say that. This kid is incredible for how young he is. And to think he's younger than my brothers and incredibly, incredibly successful, holds himself really, really well, speaks to the media in a form and factor that shows some really, really beyond your years type of insight and wisdom into how to talk to people and how to relate. Also, the Robert Allen interactions with David Taylor are funny enough. For anyone who's curious, go look those up. It's old news at this point, but like Robert Allen asking David Taylor, about his refrigerators because they all figured out that they're getting the same kind of refrigerators, whatever, in their own personal homes. Is small town Stillwater, under 50,000 people, Oklahoma. There's not much more than that. I mean, yeah. I am going, man, I wish I could be in the room, just be a fly on the wall, to figure out how to ask questions. But also Robert Allen trying to get David Taylor to open up a little bit more. All been there. Yeah. I've had Robert Allen as his guy around the Oklahoma State Media School for a while. So, I'm not trashing that guy for any reason at all, ever. But I will say there's also some questions you probably could have asked to get him to open up a little bit different ways. And knowing David Taylor at Oklahoma State for 2 years, maybe don't ask about his fridge. I'm just saying. I did see quite a few people asking about, are you ever going to cover, and this is to other wrestling podcasts, specifically the Dynasty Define podcast. You ever going to talk about David Taylor with the steroids? I just want to mention this one point real quick here. What more information do you want us to mention? Do you want me to go into, I think actually now several of the players are? No, I do not. I think that'd be false. And I think they go through testing and drug testing, all type of stuff. And if it came out, it came out. But I'm not going to be the guy who's like, let's drum up all the excitement and talk about how, we should go back through old news.
Right.
I do that from time to time about other sports and other things because I think they relate today. I don't think there's much to relate on the whole David Taylor steroids, and then we're talking about it here when he's no longer wrestling. So it just seems odd. Anyways, so that's my 2-second rant on that. What is your trivia question here as I switch you from being the co-host to the host?
Yeah, so as you know, Stillwater is home to the National Wrestling Hall of Fame and Museum. It's a lovely place. If you get to go there, please check it out. If you're a student, I believe you still get to go as free because that's what I got to do back in the day. But now the question for you, Calvin, is what decade did the Wrestling Hall of Fame open up?
1970.
Perfect. Beautiful. Because they are celebrating their 50th anniversary this year. And that's the only reason why I wanted to have that trivia question, because I just wanted to give that shout out for them.
Well, Trey, thanks so much. Great trivia question. To be honest with you, I completely guessed, and I just assumed it had to be something. And I say, honestly, the whole guess was, I think it's got to be about a 50-year deal. I think it's got to be 50-year because I work at West Watkins. And been driving past there for who knows
I'm sure you saw the logo pop up on the side. Yeah,
taking some great walks on some non-windy days in Stillwater around Boot Bacon Stadium at lunch, and over to grab a soda or an energy drink over that on queue on the corner there, whatever it is. So, anyways, it's a great deal. But I do want to mention here, we are part of the College Huddle Network, so be looking out for more collaborations with the College Huddle Network and those podcasts, because we'll be bringing on some of the K-State guys with their podcast aptly named Cocaine Willie. We'll get into that later on, of course, but doing some podcasts with those guys, Wildcat Radio 2.0, as we kind of preview more of, tell me more about Noah Fafita. What am I missing here? Why is he ranked number one by CBS and Jehan Ashani? That's how you say his name, and I'm so sorry because I definitely butchered it. And his quarterback rankings for CBS Sports. And then we'll, of course, get on some more Big 12 fans, friends, and probably foes on the podcast. Your United ones with UCF, get them on as well, too. And then, of course, Saturday's Warrior BYU and Trevor there, and some other Big 12 collaborations. So, Trey, thanks so much for joining, as always, here on the latest episode of the CGA Tour podcast. If you're not already, please follow at CGA Tour wherever you listen to podcasts. And lastly, if not leastly, go play.
Hey, Cowboy fans, today's episode is brought to you by Oakley Burklow, your go-to independent insurance agent and proud OSU alum. Oakley helps with home, auto, life, and business insurance, working with multiple top-rated insurance companies to find you the right coverage at the right price. Licensed in Oklahoma and Arkansas. Call 918-280-9068 or email oakley.burklow@connectmyinsurance.com. Personal service, honest advice, and a fellow Poe helping you protect what matters.
I haven't